day at 8 a.m. This video that you're watching is being recorded on Facebook Live and on YouTube every day at 8 a.m. Please comment because I get all your comments and it helps me. It helps me decide what am I going to talk about the next day. And if you are watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Because when you subscribe, more and more people will get the message. And then you'll be notified when we do more inspiring content other than this 8 a.m. thing, because I do so much more than that. So good morning and welcome. So here we are today. And what are we going to talk about today? I think what we're going to talk about today is how to have the experience of being free. I think that's something that everyone is seeking, the experience of being free. And it's not an easy thing. I had a gentleman today after meditation this morning ask me the question. And here's something that we don't realize, that all freedom happens between here. It's all in our mind. If our mind is bringing in the past, we're not free. If our mind is in trouble, we're not free. So here's something that I talked about yesterday in a lot of my classes. And I said this. I said, what is the definition of stress? And people came up with all these other ideas. And the definition of stress is really simple. It's really simple. It's our inability to deal with change. Think about that. If you had the ability to deal with change, there wouldn't be any stress in your life. Now, if you had the ability to change, guess what? You'd also feel free because you're not going to be tied. Oh my God, I'm paralyzed. How do I change? This world is changing. And guess what, gang? The world is going to keep changing faster and faster and faster than it's ever changed before. So if you can develop the ability to be flexible, to go with the flow, to change with things, you're ahead of the game. You're really ahead of the game. And what you're going to experience is you're going to experience great health and inner peace. You're going to experience abundance because you're not reacting. You're responding. And there's a real difference between acting and responding. The other thing about being free is you got to get out. You got to let go of the past. And I know that sounds easy, but it's not. You got to let go of the past because the past can keep you in a type of prison based on the perspective you have of the past. For example, if you have a perspective that when I was back in this relationship, it was the best ever, well, then you're imprisoned in that old relationship and you're not going to be in the now, in the new relationship. Then on the other hand, man, that old relationship sucked. And if you stay in that, you're imprisoned by the negativity of the old relationship. So you can see imprisonment is both. Imprisoned with the good of the past and the old of the past or the bad of the past. Why? Because it keeps us out of the now. And the now is the only place that we experience freedom. Isn't that an interesting concept? The only place we can experience freedom is in the now. And how do we get there? Well, one of the things is we meditate. Meditation gets rid of the past, gets rid of the future, gets us right into this moment. Whether it's focusing on a mantra, an affirmation, the breath, maybe it's being in the nothingness. If we get there, that's a great thing to be in the nothingness. That's an unbelievable experience. Undescribable, and you don't know when you're there. You only know when you come out. And that's something that people don't get. Well, I had the best meditation. I was dreaming this. I was in the astral plane. I was doing that. That's not meditation. That's a guided visualization, or that's a visualization that's happening. That's actually creating a dream and living in the dream, as opposed to meditation is getting to the point where there's total equanimity, total balance. And in total balance, there's nothing and there's everything. Isn't that an interesting concept? Isn't that a paradox? There is nothing and there is everything. That's something you can meditate on for a long time. That's something that we could have a long discussion on, and it would be a great discussion. And you know what? The rational mind will never get it. That's something I've come to understand. The rational mind doesn't get the deepest stuff because the rational mind wants to be right. It wants to justify everything. And you know what? That means a one-sided perspective. And to be free, you've got to be able to look at life through your third eye, which sees perfect balance. That's how the observer that you are sees life. It sees it in perfect balance. It's the ego that sees it on one side or the other. So if you're thinking, that's really good, that's the ego. That's really bad, that's the ego. If there's no judgment, and you just see, maybe that's the observer. Just maybe it's the observer. And what I love about the observer is that in that moment, it just recharges me. I get all this energetic because I'm not in judgment. Judgment takes a lot of energy. The mind rationalizing and judging, it takes tremendous energy. Not worth it. I'd rather be free to live and be in the moment. I'd rather be free that when I'm talking to you, that I'm fully present with you, speaking and listening. You see, that's something too, is that right now you're getting to see me as a speaker because you're not talking to me much right now, so I don't have to listen. But when I'm live with people, I've learned that the greatest gift I can give myself and them is to just listen, to let them be heard. And isn't that what people want? Don't people just want to be heard? And by being heard, what they're sort of saying is, oh my God, if you're listening to me, then I must have value. Don't people want to feel valuable? And how easy is that to give them that value by just simply listening, not trying to get your opinion in, not trying to be right, not trying to convince them. Just listen, because here's the key. If you give up the idea that you can convince someone to your way, you're free. We're back to freedom again. But if you're trying to convince them to be different, you're imprisoned by your desire to convince them. And you never will, because people are going to get it when they get it. They're not going to get it because you've gone through this convincing routine. Here's the key thing at the elections. No one changes their mind. Everyone's mind is pre-made up. The key to winning an election is how much of the vote can you get out? Can you get the people that have the like views out to vote? Because you really don't change views. There are very few views that are changed in the whole election process. And they spend billions of dollars on this election. That's what's sort of fascinating. Billions of dollars to change. No, it's really not about changing people's perspective. It's simply about getting people out. I use that because it's a great example. See, I know that my talking to you each and every day doesn't change you. But what I can do is get you to ask yourself a different question. And if you ask yourself a different question, you can then determine whether the answer that you've been living with, that's been holding you hostage in a certain frame of mind, is the right answer for you. It's the right answer for you. See, no one has your answer. Only you do. That's the key thing about life. Freedom comes from the realization that the answer will come to you in its perfect time when you listen to the voice, that infinite voice that is within you. So if you do me a favor today, I would love it. If you're on Facebook, share this. If you're on YouTube, share this. I appreciate it because the more people that get this message, the better. So I want to tell you, like I do every day, just to start your day off with a little love. And that is, I love you and I accept you just like you are. Go be the magnificent you and create your perfect day. Until tomorrow, aloha.